Hey, what's good guys? This is Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel, the only sneaker channel here on YouTube where you come for the review and stay for the conversation. Today we have a little bit something different. We have another re-review or re-performance review, retro performance review.
We're just visiting.
Yeah, we're revisiting this shoe. That's the best way to say it. Thank you. But this guy right here is the Nike Flightposite, originally part of the Alpha Project, which is an awesome series from Nike basketball back from I think it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. So with that being said, let's go ahead, get right into it. Now real quick, I am currently injured and I did so while in these guys. It was not the shoe's fault though, just putting it out there. My calf decided to give up on me. I hit up my doctor and instead of getting an MRI done, they would like to send me to physical therapy first, which to me doesn't make sense. But I'm gonna listen to the doctor and see how that goes. So unfortunately, there's not gonna be any on-court footage of these and there probably won't be any for a while. Just bear with me. I'm gonna go through all the same details and all that stuff. You'll still get all the information, you just won't get all of the lovely visuals. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get right into it. So this guy right here, again, Nike Flightposite. This is a super lightweight version of Foamposite. A lot of Foamposites are heavy and bulky. These guys are not, although they are kind of on the heavy side in comparison to other shoes. But as far as comparing them directly to a Foamposite model, this is probably one of the lighter ones, and they went on to make a Flightposite 2 and 3. Kevin Garnett used to wear them, Tim Duncan used to wear these, so on and so forth. Allen Houston used to rock these, which is what I think this colorway is all about.
The Knicks?
Yes, the New York Knicks. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this shoe is not hoopable anymore because they actually altered the sneaker, which is right here on the medial side, where originally the rubber used to wrap up the toe as well as the heel, and it is true, they removed the rubber. I really don't know why. Obviously they had to recreate the molding for these because it was probably so old at that point that they moved factories and they were not able to bring the original tooling over because a lot of factories will keep the tooling that they make. It is like a head scratcher that while going through the motions, like all the effort that they made to recreate the soles, that they did not add the extras. It has to be like a conscious thing. Like you have to be like, no, they don't need it. I think it's so lame that that happened. Does it affect the performance? Yes, it does. Not greatly, not to the point to where I would say these are not hoopable whatsoever, because that is just not true. However, if you're a shifty guy and you move on this side, that's where that extra little wrap of rubber will do you some good because it'll like actually carry yourself over to the floor. This is where a lot of new models actually do this. CP3's models, Kyrie's models, all that stuff where the rubber really wraps up and around the shoe. And it kind of started with this shoe. I mean, they had done it before, but it really was like apparent in this model right here, especially in that section. It was for just in case you land on the floor, because this spirally traction that they use was wrapped all the way up around there, which was dope. So if you happen to hit that side, you can burn out. However, it's not going to destroy the overall performance of the shoe because everything else is pretty much identical to the original. The traction's awesome. It's from the early 2000s and the late 90s, so it's thick, it's durable, it's rugged, it's going to last you indoors and outdoors. It works well whether there's dust or not, at least for me. And I played in the last round of retros for this shoe. I don't remember what the year was, but it was maybe around 2014 or 2015, so it's been a while. But the shoes played exactly the same, which is what I liked. The cushioning and the tooling for the shoe is very, very weird, especially for the time frame that you put these in, like the original time frame, because this is one of the first shoes with drop-in midsoles, which was something that nobody had heard of until like the Kobe line and the Jordan line had started it with the Kobe 7 and the Jordan 2011. But these guys right here have the first kind of modular setup. Now what I like about this, and this to me is like the main reason to buy this shoe, other than like if you just happen to like the way that it looks, but to me this right here is it. This is a very thick insole, which is the shoe's midsole. So without this in there, you can crumple this thing up and all that stuff. A little bit different than the Foamposite Pro and Foamposite 1, where they have a double-lasted midsole, which is where the midsole is housed within the upper of the shoe. Again, this guy does not have a midsole. This is it. So this is where you're riding on the floor. It's like one of the lowest rides ever. It's crazy, but they're super comfortable because this guy right here is made out of polyurethane, which is really nice. It's not the dense kind that you see on a Jordan Retro. It's the good kind, the kind that they used to make insoles out of and put them in, you know, Jordan Retros and stuff like that. And the greatest part about this is that it has embedded Zoom Air in there. So the reason why I'm saying is like if you could find these for under retail, which there's like a royal blue pair on Nike.com right now for like $139 or whatever, but I mean if you see these at outlets, which they always end up there, this right here is just worth the purchase to me because you could take this and put it in any shoe. It's essentially an insole. It's not like a Kobe's midsole where the thing is like super thick so you can't stuff them in the shoe. Take these for the example where they said that they gave us one thing but they didn't. You can just remove the insole and then put this guy in there and you're good to go. The downside is that it is a little bit thicker than the average insole that they come with. So what I would recommend is taking this with you to the store, much like I say with a brace, and you basically like swap out the insoles while you're in store just to make sure you get the right fit and all that stuff. Because if I put these in here, they might fit me too snug because of the way that I like my shoes to fit normally. So I might want to go up half a size, put this in the shoe, and then I'll be good and it'll feel like it's a true to size fit. Hopefully that all makes sense, but basically what you can get with the shoe is a shoe plus removable cushion with Zoom Air. This is my favorite cushion. For those of you guys that don't know, I love Zoom Air when it's done right, and this guy right here is done right. It feels awesome. To me, you can't get much better than Zoom Air like this. Now the materials on these guys are very straightforward. It's Foamposite pretty much along everything, and I don't know why, but the Foamposite on this pair right here is like super slick. Like if I go to like wipe the soles real quick and I happen to grab this right here, my hand slides off. There are some ventilation points right here, which was something interesting because you need a lot of heat generated within a shoe to make Foamposite feel comfortable. But this is a thinner version than the Foamposite 1 or Foamposite Pro, and so these guys right here require little break-in time compared to those guys, so everything is movable or malleable. It functions well with your foot and all that stuff without being super restricting, but the Foamposite shell is still very strong, so it, you know, will contain your foot a lot nicer. And the greatest part about Foamposite is the longer that you wear them, you kind of have that feeling of it molding to your foot shape, because Foamposite is polyurethane. It's a foam material. The more that it heats up and the more moisture you put on there while it's laced up around your feet, you're going to kind of get that one-to-one fit, which is really cool. And then these guys do have the shroud area right there. It's not like super stretchy, but it's got a small amount of stretch to it. It's got this weird like kind of like fake leather look to it. And then underneath the shoe is basically just a regular shoe. You got normal lacing and you got an internal booty system and all that stuff like you would find on the Foamposite 1 or Pro. And I just think that this stuff is awesome. I love lacing these things up as tightly as I normally do my other shoes, and when you zip it up, it feels even that much more secure, snug. And I just feel like these guys like fit so nice on court, despite them being kind of heavy and a little bit clunky. They're a fun shoe to play in. Like these guys, if you've never had a chance of playing a pair of Flightposites, do so. The support is okay, not anything crazy. They're kind of wide, but that's because like you fit like really in the shoe. The shoe is basically a shell that your foot sits in. There's not anything like a crazy traditional outrigger, but everything works in tandem with one another, which is really nice. Like I was saying before, it's a little clunky, especially right here in the back if you have from the heel strike and all that stuff, because you are in this shell. It's like kind of strange. And again, this is as far off the ground as you are, so if you really slam on the floor, like you're gonna feel it a little bit, so try to stay on your toes when you're playing in this model. Other than that, again, I think that these are one of the better Nike sportswear shoes to play in, but if you don't want to play in them, you just like how they look, this right here is the moneymaker. This is the thing or the reason to grab these, in my opinion. And despite tearing my calf while I was playing in these, this is what happened. Story time. I'm playing at this 24 that I don't like playing at because there are no lines. Because the way that they play, like, you know how they had the main court? Like, you had the main court, then you had the side courts, and the side courts have no lines. I don't like playing with no lines. I'm a shooter. The lines help me gauge where I am on the floor so I can gauge how much, you know, strength or oomph or whatever to put into my shot. When there's no lines, it takes me a really long time, I feel anyways, to get used to that. For whatever reason, I was just feeling it, and I was hitting almost everything. Whoever was supposed to guard me wasn't doing a good enough job, I guess, so they kept switching guys to do that. I got the ball, I pump faked it, and because I was shooting so well, the dude bit for it, so I went to go drive, and as soon as my right leg went out and extended to push, like with some extra speed or whatever, it was like replaying the Kobe thing in my head, because it looked just like that, except for I was about to do a floater, and as soon as it popped and I felt it and I heard it, felt so precise. And so I thought some was like on the sidelines and threw a tennis ball at my leg, and so I felt everything, and then I immediately stopped and threw the ball up in the floater, and the floater was short because it was not where I was trying to go. So that happened. I turned around immediately to look at the jerk off that threw something at me, and there was nobody there, and I was like, wow, that's weird. And so then I turned back around to move, and I just immediately just kind of like dropped to my knee and was just like, oh shit, I can't fucking move, man. I mean, I'm telling you, like, it's one thing when you like sprain your ankle, because that's another like me moment, but when it's your leg especially, like, and you go to move and it just doesn't work, it's kind of scary. And I didn't have a choice. It was just my leg was done. Yeah, it's like weird, and a lot of people are like, well, maybe it's the shoes. It's like, trust me guys, like, shoes only do so much. Shoes elevate your own skill set. They don't really make you run faster and jump higher, you know what I'm saying? And at the same token, a lot of them don't cause injuries. There are very small things that maybe can attribute to it, but not anything where you can deliberately and definitively point your finger at the product and be like, that was the cause. Not always. Maybe sometimes, maybe once in a blue moon, but not always. Also, these fit true to size. I forgot to say that. So if you are interested in grabbing a pair, true to size is what you should go with. How did I not talk about fit? I totally like glanced over that.
You're in a
Yeah, I'm in a weird space right now. My leg is like really hurting at the moment, so I apologize. But yeah, these things I think are awesome. If you can get them for under retail and you can grab this and use it in a different shoe, I think that that is awesome. And I think that that is what makes these worth it to me. Maybe it's a little bit different to you, but that's what the comment section is for. Sound off below and let us know. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. And until next time, guys, have a good one. I don't know if you even know this, but this is one of my favorite Nike basketball models as far as looks goes. The eggplant colorway of this was so fire. That was where I first saw eggplant foams for the first time, was on the Flightposite, and they're fucking fire, dude. Like the Green Goblin wore these, and Spider-Man. Like, this is one of my shoes where I'm just like, these are sick, dude, and I love zippers. Yeah, she got that stank doo-doo face right now. She's like, you know when you see your cat smell something funny? That's what she looks like right now.